Welcome to environmental variables. This section of the RTFM lists out a bunch of environmental variables that are useful, along with a short description of what they put out. I want to show you a few of my favorites and some I use in operations, and I want to show you how you can echo all these out on your own. So here's the RTFM section. We actually list out the variable name as well as the type of data that it typically outputs when you echo it out to screen. So for example, let's go ahead and echo out %system root %. So let me jump over to my Windows computer here, echo %system root %. Now we can see here the value C Windows is actually stored in the environmental variable system root. So that's how you output what the value of these different variables are with the echo command. Let's jump through and I want to show you one of my favorites. I'd say the variable I use the most is this path environmental variable. So let's jump over to our Windows box here, echo %path %. Now, if you do red teaming, you know the path environmental variable comes into play during DLL hijack attacks. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here. We will be covering DLL hijack attacks later in the video series. So if you want to check that out, you can go jump to it now. But the root vulnerability with a DLL hijack attack is a basic user's ability to write to one of the folders that exist in that path environmental variable. So if we look over here, I just printed them all out here. You can see that all my paths here are separated by the semicolon character. So typically, if you wanted to see if a DLL hijack vulnerability existed, you would go through all of these different folders and see if you can write out to the specific folder. So that's one I use quite a bit. Let's jump back to the RTFM here. Another one I will commonly use is something like %appdata %. So let's go ahead, let's echo this one out, echo %appdata %. This outputs the roaming folder that exists in a specific user directory. So I have a great example for this one. Let's say you wanted to list out all the items in a user's recents folder. Let's say you were writing a tool to do this that you could use across the board on a bunch of different operations. So let's go ahead and find the recents folder. Typically, I'll do a dirwhack A and show all the hidden files under their specific user directory. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll see that Windows actually has all the little symlinks here that tell us exactly where it's at. So you can see right here, the recents folder is actually pointing at the user directory, rogue operator, app data, roaming, Microsoft Windows recent. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Let's do a dir, we'll paste it in here. Perfect. These are our recents folder. This is what our user rogue operator has recently opened. As you can see, not a ton of stuff. But again, let's say we're writing a tool that's going to list this out on all the different user directories. You're kind of stuck. You can't really program it to show C user's rogue operator because what if you want to run this against a user named Bob, right? You don't want to have to change your script every single time. And this is where the environmental variables can also come in handy, as if you're developing some type of tool or script. We can actually reference that environmental variable just like a folder. So if you'll recall, if we do an echo %appdata %, this actually contains the value C users rogue operator app data roaming. So if we combine that with the path up here, you can almost see it replaces this entire section here. So let's go ahead and try it with dir. So if we do dir %appdata %, Microsoft Windows recent, boom, it's like the same exact thing here. So if you're writing some type of script, instead of referencing the actual username, which can change across all these different machines, you can actually reference their environmental variable %appdata %. Now again, I'm not gonna run through every single one here. The RTFM does a great job describing what all these different environmental variables can contain. If you're feeling up for it, go ahead, echo out all these environmental variables on a virtual machine you control, and you can see all the different things they contain. Maybe that'll tip you off on something you can use on your next assessment.